Hi, this is Monday Motivation with Olalekan Badmus. And this morning I'm going to start with the word of Henry Ford. And he said, failure is the opportunity to begin again, only this time more intelligently. Failure is the opportunity to begin again, only this time more intelligently. Henry Ford was the founder of the Ford Motor Company. And so he has that to say about failure. And this is going to be our word for this morning. That failure is not final. Failure is not final. It doesn't matter how much you have carried out a task and not succeed in it. Now, it is not final just because you didn't do well in carrying out a task, right, as a student, or you wrote an examination and you didn't do well, right, the first, second, third, maybe you've written external examinations 3-4 times and it looked as though you didn't do well. Well, that's not final. Failure may just mean that you need to do it differently. Failure may mean that there's something you probably didn't take note at first, but you need to take notes now. All right, it is we are the one who call it failure. All right, we are the one who refer to as not succeeding in a thing, as we are the one who refer to it as failure. All right, but it may just mean that you need to check it again. It may just mean that you need to attempt it again. It may just mean that you need to do that thing again. And let me say that when you do not succeed in carrying out a task, all right, when you do not succeed in an examination, right, do it again. All right, if you don't succeed at it again, do it again. Right, as you keep doing it again, you are getting better. You are just getting to find different ways to do it better. So we all read the story of the invention of the light bulb by Thomas Edison, how that it carried out multiple failed experiments. And that he didn't put his back on the ground. He only found different ways to do it better, right? So that you didn't succeed, right, at carrying out a task, you didn't succeed at an examination, a test, right, a class task, right, doesn't make you a failure, right? It may just be that there's a new you that needs to be discovered. There's something you need to do better, right? So it is good that you have the right perspective to not succeeding at the task. Failure is not final. It is not final. It may mean that you need to do it again. It may mean that there's a new strength, right, that needs to come out of you. It may mean that you need to carry out that task. You need to do it better, right? So failure is not final. Sometimes failure is why you get stronger. When you fail, attempt it again, right? When you fail, attempt it again. Now remember that as a JSS3 student, I didn't do well in math as a junior student. So even at that terminal class of mine, I wanted to write examination. So I had a score, right, 11 over 50, right, at the time, about 50 in math. And I remember that my math teacher would call me to the staff room, to ask why I didn't perform well, or why I got that score, right? So, but then there was a part of me that wanted to do better. Right, there was a part of me that wanted to do more. So I knew that I wanted to do more, right? So even though I didn't score what I was supposed the right score at first, but then I kept at it. By the time I got to the senior school, I knew that I had to put in a different energy, new energy, new strength. And I tell you, by the time I was leaving secondary school, my grades, my score had risen to 55 over 60 at the time. And I remember that I was one of the best 5 in my class, and I would even be called, myself and other mates, to be called to even record scripts and all of that. So what am I saying? That failure is not final. The fact that you didn't do well at a thing, right, doesn't mean that you cannot do better. In fact, so the fact that you even got a low mark, right, doesn't mean that you can't even score higher than those who scored higher than you in the first place. So failure is not final. It is good that you have the right perspective to not succeeding at the task. So as you go this week, as you write your class task, as you write your exam, right, as you carry out projects, right, the fact that you do not succeed at it, right, doesn't make you a failure. It may just mean that there's a new you that needs to be discovered. There's a new strength that you need to put in. It may be, right, that you just need to find a different way, all right, to do it. So as you go this week, say after me, I have the right perspective to not succeeding at the task. And as I go this week, I put in new strength, I put in new energy, and I will succeed. Thank you.